All right, welcome back. Well, Dixon Jibin joins us now. He's coordinator of Do It Right Nigeria. Thank you for coming on again this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We're looking through your manual, talking about your vision, which is a peaceful Nigeria where everyone's rights and aspirations are guaranteed, and then Nigerians see themselves as owners of the national enterprise and wealth. Ordinarily, you think this is easy as ABC, but of course, easier said than done in most cases. Is there failure, in spite of all that everyone seems to do with respect to perhaps doing it right and doing the right things out there? Are you encouraged by what you see in the polity?
Well, to start with, I'm encouraged because we have a country and we have a population. We have people who are ready to actually do.
In spite of all this political squabble.
Yes, honestly, you need to go out there and talk to the ordinary people, to talk to the average Nigerian.
What did they tell you?
You see, the thing is, they must have been disappointed over several things that must have happened in the past, over unmet expectation, leadership failure, and what have you, lack of infrastructure on ground to actually make life better for these people. But again, here are people who are just there waiting for leadership to give them the right direction, which is not forthcoming. And so they're there. That's why you see certain negative behaviors being displayed out there. And sometimes you want to trace it to, okay, you want to blame the people that why are they acting this way? Why are people not behaving in certain ways that portray Nigeria or Nigerians as good people, where we command respect in the international community? No, but then you still have to look back, look inward as to why are these people like this. It still boils down to the same thing. These people have looked up to their leaders and they're not being encouraged by what they're seeing.
So, in those cases, when they get discouraged, how do you come with that galvanizing message, asking them to do it right?
That's why we've decided to put in place the campaign, Do It Right Nigeria. The whole essence is to try as much as possible to appeal, one, to Nigerians to see themselves as, just like you read there, as owners of the collective enterprise and national wealth. Because it's easier for someone to say, okay, fine, I'm not in government, I'm not an agent of government, so the people in government are the owners of the countries. And so they've lost hope and say, okay, fine, if they don't do it right, well, in our own little ways where we are, well, let's also display certain attitudes that, okay, means that, well, it's only what I can get from the system. But of course, for us to build a great nation, we must contribute our quota from wherever we are, just like we are doing here, and then hope that government do what is right as well, so that we meet in the middle. Don't forget that nation building is a collective responsibility. Nigeria doesn't belong to a set of people. Our leaders are there because we've elected them to be there. Yeah, we've trusted them enough to manage the resources for the benefit of our good. But if that is not the case,
shouldn't we be doing more than hoping they do the right thing?
No, hope is not a strategy. We must come together. We must put in place process, which is why Do It Right Nigeria is here. We're going to places. We're going to meet government. We're also talking to people at the grassroots to begin to see themselves, to be active. We don't want a docile population.
Let's narrow it down to
Let's
narrow it down to the fight against corruption, because if we talk about the attitude of individual Nigerian, how does that help in this fight against corruption, knowing full well that maybe the ordinary Nigerian will say, I'm not even involved, I'm not right there in some of these places where such are perpetrated, so how can I also help in stemming this tide?
Only recently, the president came out openly and said Nigerians encourage corruption by celebrating those people. You see, the thing is, we can't afford to be docile. The population, the electorate, you see, the people cannot afford to be docile.
You agree with him on that particular statement?
You said?
You agree with the president on that particular statement?
I do, in the sense that, you see, fine, he's right, but again, we have to look again at the reason people are celebrating corrupt leaders or people who have done wrong, who have exhibited dishonest behavior and done illegal things in their position as elected government officials. Now, the fundamental thing is this. There's so much poverty in the land. So you may be tempted to say, well, people just want to do this simply because of what they can get from those people. But it doesn't mean that this is actually the mindset of the people. No, I tell you what, you see, we have a population that is active, honestly, but then, like I said, you can't get anything by proxy. You must be actively involved. That means every sector of the society must be alive to their responsibilities. The media must report, and not just report at the front page. We must carry out investigation. There must be investigative journalism, in the sense that once a case, a corrupt case is reported, we go the whole hog to find out and also follow this case to the logical conclusion. We don't just allow it to go. And the people also must be alive to the point that whoever they've elected as a leader, they monitor, and when there are issues or instances for you to recall, for example, I will tell you what, we have ASU's crisis has been on for a while. I expect that by now, though government and ASU leaders are meeting, trying to find a common ground for agreement, but I still expect the people, parents, to come together, because their words are involved, to come together and also be part of the solution process. I also expect our elected representative at the National Assembly to have, honestly, to have cut short their recess, because it's a national issue. Well, how national can an issue be? To cut short their recess and also give it a high priority case, so that they come and join in the effort to find a common solution to this crisis. But no, of course, obviously we knew what happened. Immediately they resumed. So in this case, we can't blame the people entirely for aiding and abetting corruption. We also have to blame the people who perpetrate in this act also, because once a man is dishonest and does illegal things, then you have to look at the mindset of that person. You elected, we must, that's why I Do It Right Nigeria, we've targeted the mindset of the people, because that's basic, that's the fundamental issue here.
And
once there's a will,
and the people also make up the government.
Yes, of course. That's why we say it's a collective thing. That's why I say,
well, show some kind of, should I say, example, the way it is right there in your book, by dissociating themselves with corrupt people.
That's why it's two ways. Either it's the people can come together, put a process in place, and then behave in certain ways that the leaders draw inspiration from the people, because they have decided to embrace what is right and they are doing what is right. Or the leadership can, if they have the will, put in place a process where we have a national ideological direction. It's missing. It's missing because you discover that there's nowhere, we can't actually say this is how we want to behave in private and public life in Nigeria. No, everyone just does what they want. And then you discover that where these things go on unabated, it's because the system itself is porous. The system, the process leading to the strengthening of our democratic institution has been watered down, because the custodians of our democratic institution are not doing what they're expected to do. So the thing is, who wants it more, the people or the leadership? As it is today, I think the people need it more. The people need to come together and then put in place the culture of honesty and integrity in their lives, so that we do what is right and there will be no hiding place, but then for the leaders to draw inspiration from the people and then do what is right as well.
Tell us about the youths. Are you approaching them? How relevant or important are they in all of this equation?
No, the youth, you see, if we must actually talk about the future of this country, obviously the youth must be at the forefront of this, because they are the next set of leaders who will take over the space of leadership. So we must target their mindset. We must go to schools where they are at all times to begin to teach them to also win their mindset and change their mindset from the erroneous way it is now, because it's easy for people to look up to the leadership and say, fine, we don't like what is happening, but at the same time, don't forget they're watching, they're active. So whatever message they get that is being exhibited by the leaders is what they take, and then they form a certain conclusion in life that, okay, fine, if this is what it is, it's dangerous, because as they move into position of leadership, the mindset with which they move into that position is very important. That's why we have decided to target the youth right from the primary level, secondary school, and even at the tertiary institution level, to take the campaign there to encourage people to embrace the culture of honesty and integrity in whatever they do.
What do you tell the children in primary schools?
You can actually pass a whole lot of message through what connects to their interest. You can dramatize things. You can tell them.
But you know, it doesn't really connect. It destroys the whole essence when you get to see the parents or those who are supposed to be teachers or leaders do something contrary to what you've told them.
Yes, of course. That's why I say we will appeal. We will target all sectors. It's not just the people alone. We're also meeting leadership. Of course, you know, it's a bit tough and difficult as it is because of the way the system is structured for you to get a leader to change. I'm sure you must have changed over 100 people. So we're doing both, balancing it in such a way that while we're doing this, certain attitudes being displayed and not eroding or making rubbish our effort at trying to change the mindset of the youth.
You know, I've just been thinking to myself that if I were involved in this campaign, you would need plenty of optimism. And one needs to commend your effort in terms of, you know, trying to change the mindset, which some people would say is impossible. Don't you see your mission as a little impossible?
No, it is possible. Honestly,
because I mean, I'm looking at a typical scenario. Here, this child has gone through school, has learned, you know, that maybe stealing is wrong, lying is wrong, and you know, you have all of that conception throughout your primary, secondary, university. For some reason, you need to get maybe your certificate, your school. Let's just use something as simple as that. And you're facing tough times where you find out that those who are giving money to whoever is in charge of it are getting theirs faster than you who is trying to do the right thing. What do you say to people who find themselves in a situation where they have to compromise, otherwise nothing gets done for them?
Before it gets to that level, you see, okay, initially, let's assume this is the case as it is. What we're saying is that we'll continue to appeal. You see, you can't stop. It's a process in itself, and the process has no time frame. We don't expect that it's going to happen. We won't see a change. It could happen overnight. If the president decides to come today and say, hey, Nigerians, follow me, it's time for us to get it right in this country. We must put in place a process
but the president hasn't said that.
Yes, that rewards. Then also we must go beyond just lip saying it, and actually putting a process in place where everybody knows that this is what they're expected to do. That's why I said we need a national ideological movement that gives us a national ideological direction. That's only when everyone, wherever you find yourself, whether in private or public places, then you know that this is what you're expected to do. And the system, and don't forget that our democratic institution will be strengthened in such a way that the custodians of this system are also doing it right. Because if they don't do it right, we'll have a weak system and nothing will work.
All right, then thank you for coming on. Dixon Jibril, coordinator, Do It Right Nigeria. Well, back after this break. Join us again if you